Welcome to Season 4 of My Wife the Dietitian, a fun, evidence-based weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy living.
On today's show, we're talking about camping. We'll give you some tips based on our experience, and we'll share some fun stories as well. Stick around, it's a good one.
Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
I'm good. This isn't a dietitian question, but people ask when they're going camping, because it's the long weekend, the first
time people think about camping. Well, often. It's like the official camping weekend, right? That start the summer and all that.
It's not summer yet, but it's getting there. We're in Canada, and it
will be summer by the time this comes out, though. Won't it? A couple days from now?
June 21st.
Oh, is it? I was thinking it was May. Is that when summer starts, in June?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking that the other day. I'm thinking, what? That seems really early for summer to start. But yeah, I'm confused. Okay. So yeah, it won't be summer when this comes out.
No, well, unless it comes out in June.
No, it's going to come out in May. But it'll still be camping season.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So then we're good with our episode about camping. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it was bumper to bumper traffic on Friday afternoon after work, and everybody's traveling with their campers and going camping.
Oh, they're going glamping if they have their campers with them.
Right, okay.
Camping's changed a whole lot in the last 30 years. It's pretty funny. Like old school camping used to be like a tent. When I went camping, this was years ago. I was probably like 19. And we were going like to a park somewhere with all our friends to, camp, which meant just drink beer and be dumb. But we took this huge old tent that my parents had from like the 60s, and it weighed about 80 pounds. It was a big, huge canvas tent. And we arrived in the dark. We didn't know how to set it up. The thing reeked because it had just been like sitting in our basement for years. But it was big, and it's the only thing we had. And
I can smell it from here.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, that's what camping used to be, but now people have like this like massive houses on wheels and like everything they need, and it's just not quite as rustic.
True, or they do the wilderness camping where they have the lightweight tents.
True.
And the thermarest.
Yeah, and they're just sleeping in the dirt, and they're wearing the same clothes for every day, and all their food is dehydrated, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some different extremes, but we're just talking about your regular traditional camping where you pitch a tent and you bring your cooler with ice in it and whatever your beverages are. And
yeah. And it's probably just
that.
For the weekend. Like we're not talking about longer than like 3 days.
Yeah. It's your weekend getaway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got some ideas about what to eat? Is that what we're talking about? What to eat, how to cook it, and
yeah, well, I think that's what questions people have are like what to pack when I'm camping in terms of food, how to store it safely, and how to cook it efficiently.
Yeah.
And effectively.
There's some real tricks with camping. I mean, if you do it all the time, you definitely learn some hacks about how to make it easier. And people who camp like every weekend, they've got the best ideas. I don't know like that we're going to have the best ideas here. We've got some starters. But people who are like professional campers, they've got some awesome
professional
things.
Campers.
Yeah, I say that in quotes, but air quotes, I guess, right? But they have some really fun ideas that they do with camping, right? Like my buddy, I just saw this picture of my buddy who's away camping this weekend, and he had prawns because we're on the West Coast. So he had fresh prawns that, I don't know, someone or him had caught recently. And they were in a big tin, like a lasagna, like a tin foil lasagna tray kind of thing, over the campfire with a brick of butter in the middle of it.
Oh, where is he camping?
Right? I know. I'm like, holy, that looks like it's going to be.
I think it's dinner time. I think I'm going to go.
It was just sitting on the campfire, just cooking away.
Oh, that smells. It would smell so good.
And there was remember we were camping with some friends a couple of years ago, and they had something that they made, some sort of sandwich thing they made on the fire. And they had like this special sandwich, like it was like this.
Like an iron.
Yeah. But they built the sandwich and then they stuck it in this thing and stuck it in the fire, and it made these wicked, like melty sandwiches and stuff. And then
like a toasty.
Yeah, I guess so. So those are good too. And then I think they did it with desserts. Like they did it with like a s'more kind of thing too.
Yeah, I guess
all this stuff's coming back to me now.
I think if you went into an outdoor store and went into the camping section, there would be a lot of those types of utensils that you would just use for camping.
We've got some, and I don't even know what they do. They're hanging on the wall downstairs, and I look at them every time I go by going, I don't know what that thing is. Seriously, I think there's one that's like for cooking a fish on the fire, because it's that idea, but it's really long, like the size of a fish.
Oh.
I'll show it to you. It's, yeah.
Oh, and it's like a cage?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, and it's like cooking the whole fish.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's from like the 70s, I think.
Totally from the 70s, yeah. It's probably been hanging on the wall since then, because I don't think it's even ours. It probably came with the house when we moved in.
Probably.
What is this stuff?
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, wow. There's lots to talk about here.
There sure is.
Yeah. So what to pack? So obviously, like thinking about people's preferences and what meals. So how many meals are you going to be gone for? You think of your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And you want variety. So you just said before we started, pretend you only could bring one thing camping. And you said, I'd bring a big jar of peanut butter.
Yeah.
Just live. And then someone else said granola bars, just a whole pack of granola bars. That's all, which is smart. That's a good idea.
Yeah, both. I could live off peanut butter.
And granola bars.
Yeah. I'm going to dip the granola bar in their peanut butter, I guess. We had a friend years ago. This is actually how we met this person. And he listens to the podcast too, so he might get a kick out of this. But we were camping years ago and our kids were really young. And this guy all of a sudden just like wanders into our campsite because he has a young child as well. And he's like, "Oh, hey, how you guys doing? Oh, I see you got a young boy there, and maybe he could play with my boy." And
he came with his knife and fork.
No, we didn't know that yet.
Okay.
We happened to be just cooking breakfast, and we got chatting to him, and he was there alone. His wife was working or whatever, so he was kind of batching it with his son, who was like 2 or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are just cooking up some breakfast, eh?" And we're like, yeah. Do you want some? And then he pulls his knife and fork out of his back pocket. "Oh, yeah, sure. That'd be great." And that's how he ate when he went camping, because he just went and met people at dinner time, and it was classic.
He did prepare lots of good meals.
Oh, absolutely.
For others.
Yeah. But I always laughed at that. It's like, that is a smart man right there. And our son did that when he camped too. He just went around, because we're like, "What did you take camping?" He's like, "I didn't take anything. We just went around and met people at dinner time, and they fed us because they felt sorry for us." So that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's not what we're talking about today.
No, it isn't, but just one of those little hacks, I suppose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is a way to meet people, because that's one great thing about camping, right? Is you're out in the open. It's more like community feel, hopefully, where you camp. Mm-hmm. People are talking to their neighbors, and, so that kind of is nice. And obviously being outside and in the elements, away from city lights and all the electronics, it's restorative.
Magical.
It's magical. Absolutely. Yeah. So some other things to think about, like you want some variety with your meals and some balance, obviously. Probably shelf stable. So we talked about, the peanut butter and maybe some canned goods, dried noodles. We could think about like the dehydrated food, the nuts and seeds like trail mix, like beef jerky. You know
what my trick is?
What?
Well, there's 2. So if some of your meal includes frozen food, then that frozen food serves as your ice for the first day. Right? Mm-hmm. So you don't eat that stuff the first day. It's kind of ready by the second day. Mm-hmm. The first day you make like stuff with all your fresh veggies. So like, I'll usually make a big pot of pasta, and I'll put in, peppers and tomatoes and onions and mushrooms and all this stuff that's going to go bad by the next day. Mm-hmm. and it's still fresh, and maybe whatever meat you brought, sausage isn't super healthy, but it's super easy to travel with and it's easy to deal with because you just kind of throw it in. Versus like ground beef or a chicken or something. That's not usually camping friendly, but
you could do it at home if you like if you cooked it at home and then brought it already cooked.
That's true. So then you cook so much that you have basically that's your lunch the next day too. You just have all the leftovers. You keep them in the pot in the cooler, and that's your lunch the next day. So that's 2 meals, and then for the second night, all your frozen stuff is then thawed and you can cook that up. And then, you just have your breakfast and lunch stuff, which I usually just do sandwiches. And then breakfast is something more fun, like eggs and bacon or pancakes, or you've got a few ideas there too. But that usually is how I do it. And it works well with the stability of the food and the food safe, all that stuff.
Yeah, good point. That's awesome.
And cold beer. Cold beer keeps things cool too.
Okay. Well, you don't freeze it though.
No. Although that is another thing that I got so tired of having bags of ice in the cooler, and then they melt eventually, usually pretty quick. And then you just got like this puddle in your cooler and everything's all gross and soggy. And by the end of the weekend, it's nasty. And so we started filling up like jugs, like, a Clamato juice, like a 2-liter pop bottle size or a juice bottle, put them in the freezer, or even the little ones are better because then they don't take up as much room. So like a little pop bottle,
a water bottle,
the little water bottles. You freeze a bunch of those and then they'll melt, but they don't make a mess in your cooler.
Yeah. And then you have your water to drink.
You could use them as your drinking water, or you could just refreeze them again. But that was a game changer when we figured that out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's another good one. And you don't have to keep going to buy ice because that's a pain in the butt too.
Yeah.
Because those blocks of ice in your water, they last a lot longer than cubes.
Right. And then the cubes kind of melt quickly and they get all messy.
And it's funny when you go to buy a block of ice at like the 7-Eleven or whatever, the thing's the size of your cooler. It's like, well, if I put that in my cooler, there's no room for any food. Like, well, who's got room for that? It's like the size of a small suitcase. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to keep the 2 things that I can fit in my cooler really, really cold. They're going to be frozen, actually. I never understood why it was so big. It's like people, the cubes melt really quick, but you can get one of those blocks of ice. Like, yeah, but they're massive. Right?
Yeah.
Why are they so big? Of course it's not going to melt. Things like a small iceberg.
I guess you could get a really big cooler.
I guess. And a couple of people to lift it.
That's the thing, too.
Might as well just bring your fridge. Maybe that's why they started... That's why they started building those huge RVs, because people had these massive coolers to fit their block of ice. And they're like, wow, we could build something and put it on wheels. And hey, why don't we just throw a king-size bed in here too? And this will be the new camping. Sure would be nice to have a microwave and air conditioning for those hot days. Oh, and a television for movies at night. Let's just go take our big, huge camping rig, we'll park it in the dirt somewhere, and we'll sit inside all night and eat popcorn and watch movies in our air-conditioned house on wheels. Call it camping. It all started with a block of ice.
Okay, so we're thinking about breakfast, because usually...
Breakfast is fun when you're camping.
Yeah.
Every meal's fun. You know what's funny about camping? Is here we go again. Camping is an activity and then cooking food. That's all you do when you're camping, right? Because it takes you so long to cook and prep everything.
And clean.
It's like the whole event of cooking and eating and cleaning and prepping and all that. It's a huge chunk of your day. And then you'll do something. You go for a hike or whatever you do. And then it's like, oh, I guess we should think about lunch, because that's going to be another 3 hours. and then you finish lunch, and then you do something, I don't know, you go swimming or whatever in the afternoon, and then it's ready for dinner. And then you do your dinner, 3-hour dinner, and then you hang out at the campfire and go to bed, and then you get up and do it all again. It's all just like, that's why it's so fun though, because it's so simple.
Yeah.
But it is, I remember that when we camped last, and I just thought, wow, you spend a lot of time prepping the food, cooking, waiting for it to cook, hanging out, waiting for the food, whatever, right? It's
Yeah.
a lot of time focused around the eating.
True.
So anyway, yeah, breakfast is super fun. I cut you off there a while ago.
No, you didn't cut me off. It's so true. It's,
But sorry, do you know why it's so fun?
why?
Because it takes so long to get it.
Right.
There's so much anticipation, and you're hungry in the morning. Even making a cup of coffee, it's like a 20, 25 minutes sometimes, especially if you have one of those little drip things and you're just watching it drip. It's just like, oh, I can't wait to drink this coffee. And it's kind of like nasty camp coffee sometimes, but it's still delicious, right? Because you're camping and yeah. Okay, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, there's lots
breakfast.
of different, breakfast, exactly. So I was thinking breakfast burritos that you can make at home.
Yes.
You know, that's the whole thing about camping and prepping for the meals. If you do a bit of prep and plan before, then you can kind of make it a bit easier so that you're not chopping and what are you laughing at?
I just remember this father and son were camping where we went last summer. That's all they brought. They made like 40 little burritos. Two different, do you remember that? 2 different types of burritos, but that's all they brought. And that's all they ate the whole time they were there for like a week. And that's all they ate. And they just like did a production line of these burrito things, and they just, I don't know, they just heated them up when they were hungry, and that's kind of all they ate. And they had like chips and dip and stuff, I guess, or something, probably some fruit. But that was like, says, yeah, we just keep it real simple. And I guess, yeah, that's real simple, but they looked real good.
And I think they really appreciated the potlucks.
Variety, finally. Something other than burritos. They really appreciated the potlucks. Yeah, no kidding. They totally did. That's why I never thought about that before. That's why. That's funny, Sandra.
Well, I appreciate the potlucks too.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah.
All the different dishes, and I love the creativity.
We do a potluck dinner at the place we camp often, every weekend sometimes. So that's what we're referring to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so good.
Sorry, so you were talking about breakfast burritos that you cook ahead of time.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea.
And did they cook them ahead of time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just they literally cooked like, I don't know, they had a whole cooler full of these things. They're all frozen.
Oh.
And they'd pull them out like, I don't know, 6 at a time so they'd have enough for the day. And that was their thing. They just made them all ahead. Like the week before, they just had burrito production line and made a bunch of burritos and froze them all. And
well, that's the thing, because you could have so many different fillings, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, with the one I'm talking about, would be like scrambled eggs and black beans, maybe cooked sausage, shredded cheese, and veggies like peppers, like diced peppers and onions, and then the whole wheat tortilla.
Yes, that sounds good. And then what do? You heat them in the frying pan or something?
Well, you could wrap them in the foil, like at home, and freeze them.
Oh, and then put them in your campfire.
Yeah.
That you have to build first thing in the morning.
Or you let it thaw overnight in the cooler, and you could just heat them on the fire.
True.
Because they're pretty much cooked already, right?
Yeah. You just got to heat them. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. We never really did that much when we went. Like, I don't think we were like cooking stuff ahead of time to go camping. I think it was always like, okay, what do you want to eat tonight? And what's in the cooler? And that's super smart. Meal prep for camping.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Should we go lunch and then another breakfast?
No, let's stick with breakfast.
Just all breakfast.
All breakfast.
Okay, the other breakfast thing. Well, you said pancakes.
Pancakes are fun.
So like banana pancakes could be like 2 ripe bananas and 2 eggs with some half a cup of oats or flour and then a little pinch of baking powder And so you just like, make them on the griddle or the skillet.
Mm-hmm. Or in the campfire. You get a little bit of ash in there too, a little bit of extra flavor. You always get that camping flavor. I guess it's just how you're cooking it, or there's like campfire smoke around or whatever, but things taste different when you're camping, cooking, right?
Oh yeah. Like the smoky.
I guess, I don't know, or it's just the stuff that it's your old pots and pans you're using to cook. So it's got a little bit of extra flavor from that somehow. I don't know. Yeah,
or Cajun, like
kind of. I just call it Cajun, but it just means it's burnt.
Burnt.
Yeah. No, it's Cajun pancakes, kids.
Cajun
Who wants one?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you put whatever you brought for topping. So it could be like Greek yogurt, or you could do nut butter and maple syrup or berries.
Yeah, some fresh fruit. Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Or hyphen.
Oatmeal would work too.
Oh no, I just wrote that down for you.
Wrong page. Oatmeal would work too, because that's just easy.
That was my third one.
Oh, I'm just thinking in my because that would be an easy one with yogurt or hot water that you just heat up.
Mm-hmm. Or even make it ahead like the overnight oats.
The whole in
a mason jars.
Yeah.
And then you just do the oats and soy milk or regular milk or whatever kind of milk you use, like almond milk, and then some chia seeds, like a tablespoon, and some vanilla or cinnamon, depending on the flavor you're going for. And then you could put add-ons like the trail mix. We do that sometimes, or dried fruit, or fresh, or frozen berries.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're going to eat it, and like seeds too. Well, I said trail mix. So
yeah, all that stuff. Just a bag of like the trail mix that has all that stuff already in it.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to go.
Exactly.
Roll some of that in. And
then just yogurt. When you're eating it, you could add some yogurt to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty healthy meal. Good way to start your day with your black coffee.
That's right. Or whatever kind you like.
Whatever kind you like.
The parfait. Have you seen the yogurt parfaits?
What does that mean?
So it's like Greek yogurt and granola or muesli and berries.
Oh, like it's a little thing that...
It's kind of like layers.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another option. Like it's kind of like overnight oats, but it's not all mixed together.
Right. Yeah, that has totally that's a game changer for camping, is doing all that sort of meal prep and making this stuff.
Yeah.
Like the overnight oats thing, you can make a bunch of those and just have them as snacks and stuff too, right?
With the burritos, you're all set.
Oh, yeah. All you need is overnight oats and burritos and you're good to go.
There you go.
All
done.
weekend. Okay, there we go. Thanks for coming out, everyone.
That's about it, eh? Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, actually, we just did an episode on lunches, like mason jar salads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to say about lunches when you're camping, because you can do those, like prep ahead of time with the mason jar salad with, the dressing on the bottom and then the big chunky vegetables. So peppers and cucumbers, and then maybe some chickpeas in there, and then some leafy greens, and then the feta cheese or whatever recipe you're using.
Right.
And then you just turn it upside down right before you dump it out into a bowl and eat it.
Voila.
Or eat it right in the jar.
Oh my gosh.
Less dishes.
True, which is camp friendly.
Totally. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the lunch ideas, but then also wraps. So like the burrito we were talking about, but you could do like a wrap with hummus, shredded lettuce and cucumbers and peppers, maybe some grilled chicken that you prepped at home, or you just brought the chicken that's cut up, that's already cooked, and you can just add them for your wraps.
Or last night's dinner. If you make it like a rice-based, like what's that stuff called that has all the things in it? It's like rice.
The pilaf?
No. It's like the kitchen sink. It's a tomato base with rice and a whole
risotto?
No, a bunch of different meat. Jambalaya.
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
You make something like that, and then that's a perfect filling for your wrap the next day.
True.
And so then, like I said before, you've got 2 meals in one. You just stick it in a wrap the next day for your lunch, and bing, bang, boom.
That sounds really good.
Leave you more time for your midday adventures.
Exactly. That you don't have to spend 3 hours cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
At each meal. Because that would be 9 hours of cooking.
Yeah. The other things that we used to do, like bring some sandwich stuff, but you get like the pre-sliced cheese and like maybe some cold meat or something that you can just slap together some sandwiches real quick and keep on moving without having a big production at lunchtime.
Or you could have like already had like egg salad at home that you've made up, or like a tuna salad.
Yeah, that's true.
And make it that way. There's also, I think, did you mention like the pasta, like the one pot pasta?
Well, I suggested do that for dinner on the first night. So then you'd have leftovers. I mean, you could just eat the leftovers for lunch too.
Yeah.
But putting them in a wrap just makes them portable and doesn't require dishes.
Yes. That's a very important thing to
It's
think
kind
about.
of a plus, right? Because doing the dishes, I mean, you got to heat the water. You got to, like, it's a whole production. Like, there's so many luxuries we have at home, you know, that you don't think about until you're camping.
I know. Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I mean, you're like, if you can not have to do the dishes when you're camping, that's a huge plus.
But you know what you can't do at home a lot of times?
Sit around the campfire?
Make s'mores around the campfire.
You're right.
Which are so delicious.
Oh, yeah.
So the graham cracker and chocolate.
You can buy those cookies now. They're like s'more cookies. They're perfect. They're like Celebration, I think they're called. And they're like a graham cracker with chocolate on top of it. So all you just need is the marshmallow. It's perfect.
Or you could have your chocolate bar and then put it so you get double chocolate and then the
extra chocolate
marshmallow.
You know what would be good is a mint chocolate bar. I really like mint chocolate. I never thought of doing that with a s'more, but that would probably... See, the camping professionals, that's something they probably know about.
Professional.
Right? They probably have different s'more flavors and that they do. And
that's true. With peanut butter?
Little special s'more sticks.
Spread peanut butter on the
that'd
cookie.
Be good. See?
That would be good.
They're just out there rolling their eyes going, come on, you guys. We've been doing this for years. Where you been? You newbies. Call yourself campers.
Well, yeah, because part of it is also making sure you store your food securely and
like
away from wild animals,
away from wildlife.
Where we are in bear country, and we've been. We had a bear take our cooler and basically spread it around the campground, like all down the beach, and
I couldn't imagine. Because our cooler was full, which isn't something that you drag. I mean, I don't know, either he picked it up in his little front hands and walked with it, or I don't know, maybe he dragged it. I don't know. But
maybe he had a buddy that helped.
I would have loved to, like a little night video to watch how they do it. But they like opened the cheese strings.
Yeah.
We called it the dairy bear because it ate everything. It left the tofu. Didn't like tofu wieners or whatever we had. It ate all the dairy. It ate the yogurt. It ate all the cheese. It opened the cheese strings. What else did we have? Milk.
Yeah.
It like punctured the thing of milk and drank the milk. Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was, and we had the cooler in a tent and we were all sleeping in the van.
Which is a no-no.
Right.
I mean.
Don't do what we do.
So there's a reason we have to justify this, or people will be thinking we're boneheads, but our doors on our van didn't lock. You could just yank the door and it would open. And our kids were like babies and we're all in there and it's late in the season. There's no one around. And we're like, I don't want to have like food in here because the bear's going to try to break into the van. Why don't we just hide the cooler in the tent? We'll put it in the tent because bears, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, so we put it in the tent with a bunch of stuff and blankets and stuff on top of the cooler so it wouldn't see it. Right? But bears don't go by, they don't go by their vision. They use their sense of smell. And sure enough, of course, the bear's like, gold mine here, right on. Jackpot.
Oh my gosh, that was scary. Because at first he was we had the garbage on top of we had the bag of garbage on top of the van. And we were all sleeping in the van, and I just felt the van like moving.
Yeah, at 2 in the morning.
I saw the bear, and then I woke you up, and we started honking the horn of the van to try to like get him off. And he got off, and then I think you grabbed the garbage and you threw it as far as possible so that he would like leave us alone.
Well, he's going to get the garbage anyway. So might as well just get it across the street than on my van. So, yeah.
And then he came back.
Into the tent.
Yeah. And I look over and the whole tent was shaking like back and forth. It was kind of like, the Tasmanian devil and, like everything just shaking. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's in the tent. And then you just saw this claw. It was kind of like one of those horror movies. Mm-hmm. And the claw was coming out the side of the tent, like he was ripping the tent with his claw. And it's just like, oh my God. And then then we saw him.
Left with our cooler.
Yeah, that was that night we didn't sleep very well.
No, we didn't sleep very well at all. It was really interesting the next day. The kids were just like looking at this, like, because they slept through the whole thing. Well, they didn't wake up once, and they woke up in the morning and it's mayhem in our campground, and they're like, what happened? And so, yeah. And crows too are a pain in the butt. The thing with crows is they're really smart. They sit in the trees above you. They watch you get all your food out. And then you're like, oh, let's go down to the beach with our coffee. And then, boom, they're on your table eating all the stuff that you left out.
They can get right through the bread.
It's brutal.
Yeah, they just eat that. Like it's crazy the amount of little crow beak marks in all the food. Mm-hmm. You don't keep your food out at all. Like you have to, you do the food, put it away, and then.
It's a wonder people go camping at all. It sounds like it's a whole bunch of work.
It's fun though.
It is, but it's funny.
It's nature, and you're like just out in nature and the wild, and you're dealing with animals and wildlife, which is, so be smart about where you store your food. Like up in a tree would be good, or in a vehicle that's closed. And
just make sure you have a vehicle that's doors work.
Yes. Yeah.
So bears out here are smart. They, they've learned how to get into things, how to open cars and all that. So
yeah, it's not just bears though, I think,
it's probably neighbors too. That's if your beer goes missing, it's probably the kid in the next campsite that him and his buddies came and took it.
That's right.
Right? If it's all your food, it's probably a bear.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So yeah, I was going to talk about this, but I won't.
What's this?
Oh, it's just, actually we've talked about it. Just pre-chopping the veggies, trying to store the proteins frozen so that they can thaw gradually. You said that. So
use them as your ice block.
Exactly. And using the block of ice and the frozen water bottles. Mm-hmm. That whole idea about the block of ice was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And then bringing like aluminum foil and plates and cutlery and, the mason jars, containers with lids, bags and wipes and soap. And and then you just go shopping and get all the ingredients for whatever breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks that you might want to use. Snacks would be like trail mix or fruit and nut butter or seed butter. Maybe the banana. Have you seen those banana boats with the chocolate and granola in the foil?
Oh, yum. That's what they were making.
Yeah.
Our friends. Yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, they were good.
Banana boats.
So here's another. This is something I saw someone else had built, because when we went camping, we had everything in like Rubbermaid bins, and we had one that was called the camping box, and it had literally like everything from dish soap to like
matches,
cutlery,
twine,
paper plates, regular plates, like just everything.
Scissors.
It was just a big junk
candles.
Pile. It was a pain in the butt. And I saw this guy, they rolled into the campground and they pulled out this box from, they had a minivan, I think. They pulled this box out and put it on the table, and the front flipped up, and the part, it was like part of the front flipped up, part of it flipped down, and it was just their kitchen cupboard.
Oh, right.
But he'd made it, right? It was like this it was like the size of a trunk. Like an old like trunk that you move clothes in, like something like that.
Yeah.
But it had shelves in it, so everything was in it. All their plates, all their accessories, all their stuff was in like little bins and stuff. And I'm like, that is brilliant. Mm-hmm. And when they leave, they just close it up and throw it in their trunk or in their car or whatever. It was amazing. So I built one, and we had everything in it. And you got things that you don't even think of until you're camping. Things like salt and pepper or spices or paper towels. Like, so you load it all up at home. It's all super organized. It's not just a bunch of stuff thrown in a box. And well, it is. It's just an organized.
You should make those.
It's an organized box.
You should make those.
Well, they're called a camp. I think they're called a camp kitchen.
Oh, you can buy them.
Yeah. So you just look up camp kitchen, and it becomes like an extra surface too, like with the fold down front. That becomes like a little, depending on what your table's like, that becomes like a little prep area too.
Right.
And they've got like handles and hooks and stuff on them for your towels and all your stuff. And they were brilliant. But that thing was awesome for being organized and consistent, because not every campground's the same. Some campgrounds don't have tables.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
So you this way, at least you can have the same setup wherever you go. If you always have that thing, then you're,
oh yeah,
just bring your own little table and put it on your own table. And yeah.
And it's just in a better format than a cooler where you're reaching into, well, it's not the cooler part. It's it's all accessories.
It's all your stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's like your kitchen cabinets. So it's your cutlery, all your plates, all your pots and pans can fit in there.
Totally.
Your like your tin foil, anything you could possibly need was in this one place, and it was all like right at your fingertips. Yeah. That was
smart. That
was really smart. I loved that. The other thing those guys had, because we had a big, huge van for 4 of us, and their kids were older than ours, so they had 4 of them, and they were in a minivan. And I'm like, how are you guys in a minivan? And he showed me, and they'd put across the front seats, they'd put a piece of plywood and created a bed across the front seats. They just put a piece of plywood and leveled it out with some pieces of wood under the plywood to make it flat, and then put a mattress on it. One of the kids slept across the front seats. The adults slept in the back, and the other kids slept on the floor in the middle. That
must have been years ago, because you've done this with our kids that.
Well, I know. I did a lot of things after I saw their van. I'm like, you guys are smart. I thought I hadn't figured out, but this is awesome.
That's right.
We're rolling in a minivan, and we got this massive big thing with, so yeah, that was, it pays to wander around in the campground and see what other people are doing.
Yeah, you get ideas.
There's some really smart people that are pretty creative with how they camp.
Camping hacks.
Yeah,
There's just got to be a book on
I'm
that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pinterest, I'm sure, has loads from all the professional campers.
That's right.
Right?
And even van life. I mean, kind of like you could, although it's a different.
Van life is just fancy camping.
Yeah.
But it's driven from the same desire, like to sort of conquer nature and to be able to
immerse yourself in nature and live with nature, not conquer.
Well, yeah, not let nature kick your butt.
Okay.
Right. But you're right. It's to be able to interact. Successfully interact with nature.
Not extract and not conquer.
Okay. There we go.
It's Mother Nature, right?
So have we talked enough for today? Yes, we've entertained our...
People want to just go camping now.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they can't wait to go camping. Try out all those different ideas. There you go. All right. Well, hopefully that's been a comedic inspiration for your next camping trip. You can talk about us around the campfire with all your friends and tell them what you learned on My Wife the Dietitian.
Have them s'mores and try different... Oh, I'd love to hear your variety of your own recipe for s'mores, like what you do.
Me?
No, the people.
Oh, our listener.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let us know.
The one listener, that's right.
Yeah, well, everyone's out camping probably, so one person that's not out camping is listening.
And now planning. They're gonna have a way better trip because they'll be all prepped.
Right, exactly. All right, so there you go. Some good tips for you for your next camping trip. It's kind of rainy and cold here, so hopefully that all changes soon and it will be like appropriate camping weather soon. Summer's coming soon. If you want more tips, not camping tips, but just nutrition tips, health tips, all sorts of great ideas, check out our website. We've got an amazing blog there. I looked at it the other day. I was looking something up, and I can't believe how much stuff is on there. Just scrolling through all the different articles and blog stories and different things. So there's loads of stuff there.
There's a little search function too.
Yeah, I found that because that actually was pretty handy.
Yeah. Like smoothies. You could like search smoothies and there's a bunch of different articles around smoothies.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Oh my gosh. Look at us on the same wavelength. I didn't even know that.
Wow. You can also sign up for a newsletter when you're there. It's a weekly newsletter, also full of lots of great tips. And you can sign up on most of the pages. There's a sign up button, and that's free to join. If you have questions for us, we love answering questions. Feel free to email us. It's mywifetherd@gmail.com. And our website is mywifethedietitian.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to reach out to us there as well. We love hearing your feedback wherever you want to connect with us, or just rating and reviewing. That's another way to give us feedback. It helps us keep the show moving forward here, and it helps us know that we are giving you what you want, which is really important. Also, if you can, that would be awesome if you could share with a friend. Share with your friends around the campfire. Tell them about this awesome podcast you've been listening to and about all the great tips that you got. That would be fantastic. Helps get some more people on board here and makes us happy.
That was a nice comment we just got on our YouTube.
Yeah, someone loving the podcast. And it's nice to hear.
It was a really great comment.
It was. So thank you for that. So that is it. Until Wednesday, we'll be back with Nutrition Nuggets on Wednesday. So go out, get camping, have fun, be creative in your kitchen, enjoy your food, and have a great week.
Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.